You went a bit quiet, say in the late 70s, early 80s. What was going on around that time then?
In late 70s, early 80s.
Yeah.
I got married.
Yeah.
And
it takes up a lot of time.
Yeah. And I moved to Brussels.
Okay.
And I was still active in music. I recorded an album there with Elton Motello. Actually, his real name was Alan Ward. He worked at the studio there, a very important studio in Belgium, and he was producing Plastic Bertrand and lots of that kind of stuff. Lou and the Hollywood Bananas was another band that he was producing. But he was doing a solo album which was called Elton Motello, Victim of Time, and I played drums on that. And I was also jamming with some friends that I met over there, kind of family friends. They're a band called Kleptomania. But we were just jamming, friends, we were just jamming. And then I was just concentrating on the family, really.
Was it recuperating after the 60s and 70s? Yeah.
That was the plan.
Yeah. So, following that, you brought a lot out in the 90s, didn't you? You were doing quite a bit in the 90s. Mm-hmm. You released 2 albums with Pink Wind / Hawk Fairies.
Yeah,
is that right?
Yeah, two albums with that was kind of both. They were both Pink Wind albums, which were members of Hawk Wind and the Pink Fairies. Yeah. Nick Turner being the main ingredient of the Hawk Wind side, and me being the main ingredient for the Pink Fairies kind of connection. But I released other albums at that time as well. In fact, in '96 I recorded with Paul Rudolph. I recorded 2 albums with Paul Rudolph. I went to Vancouver and worked with him on 2 albums, which was very nice to work with him again.
Did you feel? Because I suppose when you're younger, your songwriting is a particular style. Did you sort of sit back and feel a bit more comfortable with your own abilities at that point? Did you feel, this is my sound, this is how I feel? Did you feel were you more confident in yourself, I suppose? By that point.
I'm not sure about that, because I really didn't get that until quite recently. When I hooked up with a band called the Technicolor Dream, some Italian musicians, and I started recording with them, and I kind of felt at that point that where I left off with the Pink Fairies, I kind of picked myself up and started to regroup, if you like. And I consider those years in between I call them my wilderness years. Where I'm kind of out there, looking, for stuff to do. And subsequently, after we recorded an album, the first album we did was "You Reach for the Stars," which we've actually got over there on the merchandising table, on CD and vinyl. And then I worked on Think Pink 2 with them. We decided that we'd do that, and I love that album. Yeah. It's really, I'm really finding my feet in writing and production and stuff. And I'm actually in the studio now. In fact, I'm going in on the next Monday the 13th. I'm working on Think Pink 3, which is strictly acoustic. There's no electrical. There'll be no electrical instruments on there. And I'm really kind of finding things later rather than earlier.
Yeah. So, was it in the early 2000s you moved over to Morocco? Was it at that time?
No. Early 2000s. Early 2000. I was living in Hollywood in the States. Yeah. From I think 97 to 2002, and then I moved from there back to my hometown in Colchester for personal reasons.
Yeah. So Did you move over to Morocco, or was that...
No. But around about, I think about 2004, I visited Morocco. I hadn't visited for ages, but I revisited.
Yeah.
And yeah.
And it was around that time that you converted to Islam, wasn't it? Was it?
Yeah. Well, actually, it's reverted.
Reverted. Sorry. Yeah.
But yeah. That's right.
And do you feel that was something, I suppose, that's always been in the back of your mind, or was that was it sort of a bit of an epiphany?
Well, I'd always been interested in spiritual things, interested in searching for a way in which I could give thanks to this higher power, okay, which you can call it a higher power, whatever you like, this thing that we don't understand, that makes everything work.
Yeah.
And I'd looked everywhere, I'd looked in all different kind of religions and other areas like magic. I tried magic and all this kind of stuff, and I always came out the other side saying, well, no, that's not for me. And then it's really strange how it worked, because I'd been going to Morocco since '71. The first time I was there, and I loved the mosques. I always loved the mosques. I loved the sound of the adhan, the call to prayer 5 times a day. But I never thought of becoming Muslim. It never entered my mind. And then I think it must have been about 10 years ago that I started to study Islam, study the Quran and the Hadith, and that was it. Yeah.
Do you feel that, because Summer of Love and all that kind of thing had a very spiritual side to it? Do you think that came from that, or was it something that was always with you?
I think so. I think you're right. It's kind of always been with me. And luckily I found Islam, and I just want to say that it's got such bad press. That it really isn't like that.
No.
There are bad people in all walks of life. There are bad people in music. There are bad people they're just everywhere, and we just have to put up with them.
Doesn't matter what religion you're from. It's still
exactly.
An arsehole's an arsehole, no matter what religion they practice. So, so going back, going back in time, I suppose, you were known for your sort of antics on stage. I believe you climbed up the stacks in Hyde Park, was it?
Yeah, I did that. I think, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think it was probably the very first stage dive.
Was it? Yeah, we can have a round of applause for that. Yeah, the very first stage dive.
Actually, it was pretty dangerous. I actually went I climbed to the top of the speakers, and I was just kind of like, kidding everyone that I was going to jump, and I was telling people to move out the way, and everyone was moving, and everyone was sitting down as well at the time. Everyone was sitting there. There was no idiot dancing or anything, and I looked down and I thought, what the hell? So I jumped. And luckily for me, the ground was kind of a little bit wet, because I think there'd been a bit of rain the night before. And I had these Cuban heel boots on, which sunk nicely into the ground. And I came up, I stood up, and I went like that. And the whole place, all the 15,000 people got off their asses, and they all went.
So not only did you invent the stage dive, you invented standing up at gigs. Is that what it was? Yeah. So, what would you say overall over the years? What would you say your highlights were from all? Because
recording wise or live?
Everything. I know that's a pretty big ask, because you've done quite a bit, but
recording wise, well, that's a difficult one, because I think probably SF Sorrow is a highlight. Think Pink comes in a close second. The Tomorrow album, I think that it could have been better produced. But
Was Tomorrow rushed?
Sorry?
Was the Tomorrow album rushed?
The Tomorrow album it wasn't rushed at all. But towards the end, the kind of the production, the running order, the album was just taken away from us. We had no involvement in it. And then it was just put out, and we were just like, we heard it and we said, well, this is, not good enough. But it was too late,
It's a shame because there's a good album in there.
Yeah, it is. I agree with you. There's some great performances, especially from Steve Howe and John Wood. They're absolutely brilliant. But the overall production is kind of weak, and it could have been a lot better.
I don't know, Revolution still sounds powerful.
Yeah, that's right, it does. It took more time with that. Yeah. But that wasn't on the album though, was it? Was it? Okay. Thank you.
Powerful. And who done the lead speak into it?
Oh, that was Keith did the
Twink, remember at the Roundhouse when you were with the priest and you got up on the speakers drumming?
Yeah, the Roundhouse, but yeah? Did I? I can't remember that.
I do. I was there.
So you sat with the speakers away, right?
Yeah, you did.
So a couple more and then we'll open it out to you, lovely lot. All right, is that all right? So, you've also done a bit of acting in your time, haven't you?
Yeah.
Do you want to talk us through?
Most of my time is acting.
Do you want to talk us through some of the things you've done acting wise?
you know about What's Good for the Goose, but that was just having fun. It was smashing time. That was just having fun. I did Lovejoy, a couple of series of Lovejoy. Nothing important, but it's like a sort of walk-on extra. LOLO, I did a couple of series of LOLO, which was amazing. I enjoyed doing that.
You weren't a bloody German, was you?
No, I was in the first series. I was a French peasant.
Oh, that's good.
Bill and Ben the Flower Pot Man.
You did Chucky as well, didn't you?
Yeah, Chucky's Challenge, but I don't remember much about that.
So, I mean, was that something that just came naturally, or was it, I want to be an actor today, I'm going to go be an actor?
No, because when I joined the Pretty Things, to actually be in What's Good for the Goose, we had to have equity cards.
Right.
The producer got us all equity cards so we could do it. I kept my subs up, and then one day I thought, well, okay, may as well use this. I'll find an agent. That's really how the agent got me the work,
Okay.
Oh, and I did Fools and Horses as well. As in that was great.
Last question. So, I mean, I've noticed there's a few names from around that time that are inspired by Tolkien. There was Shagrat. You weren't involved in that, but it was close to you. Steve Peregrine Took, and The Rings, possibly The Rings. Were you just all reading the same copy of Lord of the Rings? Were you just passing it round and saying, "Yeah, I'm a reader of that"? Was it not something that was?
I think Steve Took was reading the Lord of the Rings before I read Lord of the Rings. Who else did you mention?
Shagrat.
Shagrat.
Yeah.
Well, Shagrat was Steve Took.
Oh, right. Okay.
That's it.
There you go.
He was Steve Took.
And I take it The Rings wasn't from the Lord.
No, but there was a kind of like a vague connection there.
Okay, so you lovely lot. You want to? Has anyone got any questions? We've got a mic here. If you want to be a bit louder.
Can I come up?
Yeah, come on. Show yourself up a bit louder. It's fine.
Thank you for turning up, lovely geezer. All right. Two questions. Did you have fun with Norman Wisdom, or ever meet him? And B, you're doing an album, Think Pink 3, with Andy McCullum.
That's right.
Yeah,
That's right.
and he's a mod guy, so it could really work well, and it's good to have inspiration between the two. That's end of.
Great. Yeah, well, Norman Wisdom was great fun. We really got on well with him. We went to a party in his flat in Southport. He had a flat which he was renting. Phil May used to play tennis with him, you know, in between sort of shooting. There'd be Phil, because Phil's a great tennis player, and Norman is too. But Norman was actually dressed in his bowler hat and his all his, you know, businessmen clothes, and Phil was at the other end, you know, the hippie, and they played well.
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
Did it, back in the day, did it help to be contracted to a record label or to management? Did that give you a kind of safety net to be able to do what you wanted in a fashion, what you wanted to do?
Yeah, in those days, you couldn't survive
That,
without having a manager, an agent, and the next step would be a record company. You know, yeah. But in the early days, it's completely changed now. But
it doesn't exist anymore, not to that level.
yeah.
Anyone else? Come on.
With Steve Tuck, there would be Mark Bolden. How much did you and him interact?
Between me and Steve.
No, Steve Tuck came off the back of T-Rex.
Yeah.
How much
No,
interaction did you
Tyrannosaurus
have?
Rex.
Yeah.
How much interaction did you have with Bolan and those people that were...
Well, not more than at that time doing the same gigs together. But I'd known Mark since 1964 or 65, and you know, we shared some good times together. So you know, but at that time, the T-Rex time, we were just our paths were just crossing at gigs and, you know, on aeroplanes and stuff like that. You know, going to gigs and. But we.
I like how you dropped on aeroplanes there. Like
Well,
just
I remember one particular gig. We were coming back from Bilzen in Holland, and there was an empty seat next to me, and Mark came over and sat next to me. So we shared the rest of the flight together. You know, just chatting.
How many gigs did you play with Hawkwind?
Well, and that's a good question, because I think there's a couple that I can't remember, but I certainly played 2 gigs. One is
Birmingham Kinetic Theatre.
yeah, because that's a great. Have you heard the recording of that? Which is great.
Yeah.
It's really good. Jolly, my friend Jolly McPhee.
The Badge Man.
Yeah, the Badge Man, and a dear friend. He tells me that we went to somewhere in the West Country with Hawkwind, and I played drums because Terry Ollis was again not terribly well, and he played, and Jolly played bongos with Hawkwind. So there's 2 that they certainly did.
Another question.
Yeah.
How highly did you rate Jimi Hendrix?
Well, how do I rate Jimi Hendrix? As what? As a human being or as a guitarist? Well, he was a top man and top guitarist.
Thank you.
Great.
Did you ever meet him or?
Yeah. Many times, and I played with him too.
Really?
Yeah.
I never knew that.
Played with him twice.
You played with him?
I played with him twice on the first occasion.
Man.
And the first time was he came to see Tomorrow play at the UFO Club, and he got up and he played bass with us for he just played bass for 20 minutes. Steve Howe on my left, Jimi Hendrix on my right on bass, me in the middle just driving it on. It's just like heaven.
Yeah. That's
Yeah.
just like Dream Team there, right? Yeah.
It was great. And then the next time I played with him was just a few weeks before he died, at the Speakeasy Club. I was down there with Paul Rudolph. We were. I was very, very stoned. I'd taken some Mandrax that night, and no, don't do that no more. And then and Jimmy came down with Steve Stills, and he said, "Twink, we want a drummer because we want a jam." The Wild Angels had been playing that night. They had all their equipment set up, and so I thought about it. And I said, "No," I said, "I can't. I'm too out of it." And then I sort of thought about it, and then I got up on the stage and I started to play along with the music that was on the turntable. And then the turntable went down, and then Jimmy came out of the club and plugged in, and Steve Stills came up and plugged in, and we jammed. Yeah.
So there's not a bloody recording of it,
Yeah, that would be good, wouldn't it? It's a pity there isn't one of the UFO Club jam. That would have been the one.
So can I ask you one more question, right?
Of course.
You said that last time.
Apart from Keith Moon, who's your favourite drummer?
Viv Prince.
Viv Prince. He got sold away.
What about me, you wingnut? And you remember me when I came in? I think Viv left.
Yeah, but you're not Viv.
But I played when he left, and then Alan joined.
That's right. And then I joined.
And I'll tell you what, it's nice of you to remember me. I appreciate that.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
Yeah.
Yes.
Right, first of all, when you were signed to Decca Records, there was a Christmas party which showed photographs. What?
Yeah, microphone.
Hi, Mike. I call you Mike. When you were with Decca Records, there was a Christmas party which published various photographs. One of it as a sort of collage with writing underneath them, one of which was you, Twink of the Fairies, and another one was a photograph of a short-haired Mark Bolan with double dots over his O, which I think was 64 or 65. And so you knew him when he was with Decca Records?
No, well, I might have known him when he was with Decca Records, but we were actually with EMI at that time because of the short hair. I remember that was when we did our single "Don't Mind," which was our third single. But that's when I kind of started to get to know Mark a little bit better.
Because at the time, that was at the time when he was hoping to become the English Bob Dylan, but Donovan beat him to it.
Yeah, that would be 65. That would Christmas 65.
Yeah.
Mark was in before Tyrannosaurus Rex. He was in John's Children.
I'm talking about before that, my sweet.
Oh, that was 1894 when you were. Yes.
The Wizard.
Not being rude, no.
No, there's not a lot you can tell me that I don't know about Mark Bolan.
Oh, there is.
Do tell.
No.
Why not?
No, because I might get myself into trouble.
Any information you can give me about all his older gentleman friends that he spent time with when he was trying to make it?
I don't know anything about that.
Interesting.
No, I'm just telling you that I can tell you stuff that you don't know.
Yeah.
I'm not going to.
Next question, please.
Okay, when you were with Black Hill Enterprises, your good friend Jolly McPhee remembers working for Black Hill and doing autographs of band members when they weren't there to actually be able to do their own autographs. Do you know anything about that?
Is it Black Hill?
Yeah, Black Hill Enterprises.
I was never with Black Hill Enterprises.
Oh, weren't you?
No.
Ask the man about music.
Are you sure you're talking about Black Hill?
Yeah, yeah.
I don't know. I don't know what Jolly's. I have no idea
right,
what Jolly's talking about.
Okay. Yeah, that's all. Apart from anything else you'd want to say about Steve Took, which would be
Well,
interesting.
Steve Took was one of the most kindest and gentlest people that I ever met. When I first met him, he was like that. He was just generous and kind and full of energy and full of life. But he just got onto a wrong path, and he gradually faded away, unfortunately.
Yeah, and you played with obviously with Syd Barrett. Do you know anything else about any more gigs that Les Best, who was a promoter in the Margate, well, he covered Margate, Canterbury, going round to Hastings. He was asked to book some more gigs for Syd Barrett, and then the powers that be warned him off.
Mm-hmm.
So, was that any possible gigs that you knew about?
No.
Which was in the same time as the Stars. It was about 72.
Mm-hmm. Well, what I can tell you is that when we did the gig at the Cambridge Corn Exchange, when we were supporting the MC5, and when everything went wrong for Stars, we were set up too far apart. Syd cut his finger. We had problems with the bass amp, and that was very poorly reviewed. We did a gig 2 days later at the same venue, supporting a band called Nectar. And it went well. It was a good gig. Now, there was a guy from the Melody Maker, I think, at the first gig, who reviewed that gig and really said really bad things about Stars and great things about Syd, but he was putting the band down. Now, this is what I think happened. I think Syd got called into his office because the review was published at the beginning of the following week. I think he was called into the office and he was told not to play with me and Jack anymore because look at this review, So I think that's what. So there were powerful elements.
There were powerful pressures on him not to perform because it was still seen as being a bad influence on Pink Floyd.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
that's right, absolutely, because the message was that they were selling to the people was Syd is crazy. He can't play.
Yeah.
He can't do this. He can't do that. But we proved that he could do this and he could do that and he could play.
Well, I think that with Syd, it was the pressure of having to sort of perform too many gigs too frequently that sort of like wasn't something he could cope with.
And his flatmate was still painting.
Recently, we've just lost, talking about Syd and that period, we've just lost Kevin Ayres.
Yes. Yeah.
Did you have much to do with Kevin Ayres around that period?
Around that period. Again, it was the same gigs, and we were in the dressing rooms together, and but never really hung out with them, with him. Although it was a great pleasure to I bumped into him. I think it was about 76 or 77 in Basing Street in near Island Studios, and we had a long chat there. And then in about 2000, he was performing in Los Angeles, and I went along to see him there, and it was great to see him, and have a chat to him there, So we were never really close friends. We were just kind of acquaintances, and
No, it's just.
One album,
just
Joy
off
of
the
a
back
Toy,
list,
wasn't it? Joy of a Toy.
yeah, very great album.
It is a good album.
Engineered by John Wood, I think, the engineer who did that. And John Wood engineered Think Pink 2, which which is actually over there on the merchandising table. but he you know, he did the engineering for us on that as well.
Did you know Vic Mel?
No, actually, he didn't do the engineering. He did the mixing for us.
Did you ever Vic Mel?
Yeah, name rings a bell.
And